Hello boys and girls, welcome to Mrs. Bandu's Math Movies. This is for Course 2, Lesson 4-3. The title is Solving Equations by Adding or Subtracting, and that is also our objective. Okay, we have vocabulary and key concepts here. We have a couple of properties and then a definition as well. Okay, the addition property of equality. Fairly straightforward, basically tells us that if you add the same value to each side of an equation, the two sides remain equal. So, for example, if I start out with 20 divided by 2 equals 10, and I add 3 to each side, so 20 divided by 2, plus 3 is equal to 10 plus 3. Quick mental math check. 20 divided by 2 is 10 plus 3, which is 13. 10 plus 3 is 13. Notice that I added 3 to each side. Algebraically, it might look like if A is equal to B, then A plus C is equal to B plus C. Again, adding the same value to each side of the equation maintains equality. The subtraction property of equality is very similar, except, of course, you're going to use subtraction. So if you subtract, and they gave you a tiny little box for this, the same value from each side of an equation, the two sides remain equal. Again, arithmetically, we see 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So 12 over 2 minus 4 is equal to 6 minus 4. This gives me 6 minus 4, which is 2. 6 minus 4 is 2. I can check it because I have numbers. Algebraically, it might look like if A is equal to B, then A minus C is equal to B minus C, subtracting the same value from each side. Maintains equality. Now, what we basically will be using this for is solving equations, and a term that we need to be familiar with is that of inverse operations. And inverse operations are operations that undo each other. Okay. In this section, that's addition undoes subtraction, subtraction undoes addition. Okay, so we will, as we go through this, our examples, I will point that out for you. But that's really the whole big idea that we're doing here. We applied inverse operations and these properties of equality to solve equations. This is going to be written very much in algebraic format. You need to fill this in, pay attention to what you're doing. I'm going to show you a slight modification of this in class, but this will give you an idea of what we want to do, and then you'll have some options about how you want to do this. Okay, we want to solve t minus 58 equals 71. Okay, so I have subtraction here. To undo subtraction of 58, I'm going to use the addition property of equality and add 58 to each side. So I'm going to fill it in there and here. The reason I'm going to add 58 is because my goal is to isolate my variable. In other words, to get it all by itself. So the opposite of subtracting 58 is adding 58. Those, in fact, zero out. Some kiddos like to cross them out. If you really want to, you can. Okay. I almost never write the t plus 0 equals 129. I go straight to this step because I do the 0 in my head. But the numbers 58 and negative 58 are additive inverses or opposites. Okay, and this basically, from here then, we go to the addition property of 0. Okay, so we can check our solution. It doesn't exactly fit in here. I don't think that properties should be here. I think that should be the addition property of 0. Okay, so we can check our solution. So we believe that 129 is the solution. So we have our original equation, t minus 58 equals 71. I substitute in 129 for t, and I find that 129 minus 58 is in fact 71. Since 71 equals 71, it works out. Okay, so again, we use the addition property of equality, the addition property of 0 as well, and we end up with our solution of 129. This is the solution. This is the check. Okay, let's go on to the next. Remember, at any time, if you need to replay an example or pause and study it a bit, please don't be afraid to do that. Also, jot down in the margins any questions you might have as well. That can come in handy for good discussion in class. Solving equations by subtracting. Your friend purchased a DVD and a CD. The DVD cost $6 more than the CD. The DVD cost $22. How much did the CD cost? Excuse me. Too many letters in there. All right. Okay, so I know that the DVD is 6 more than the CD. Okay, so let C equal the cost of the CD. So then I get 22 which is the cost of the DVD. From there, okay, means equals 6 more than the cost of the CD, which I don't know, which is C. Okay, so I get 22 is equal to 6 plus C. I could have also written that a little bit differently. 6 plus C equals 22 means the same thing. It's perfectly fine. Okay, so I'm going to I want this 6 to disappear. So if I have 6 to zero it out, I'm going to have to subtract 6 from each side. So 6 minus 6 plus C, so I'm going to subtract 6 from each side. 22 minus 6 is, oh, I wrote down 12, and I certainly know that that is not correct. I'm going to double check myself here. Should have been 16. Okay, so the CD cost $16. You can double check yourself by doing is 16 plus 6, going to give me 22. 6 and 6 is 12, carry a 1. Okay, so I've checked myself even though it didn't ask me to. It's a great idea to run a mental math check. That's how I knew that I had something incorrect written down in my notes, because I was doing a mental math check. All right, you have a couple of examples here. In both of these, I want you to use algebra to solve. Do not use mental math. So that means for number 1 here, you're really probably going to need to go in this clear space at the bottom, set it up algebraically. Similarly for number 2. Again, please try to do these. If you actually write something down and what you think works or doesn't, what you think works, and if it doesn't, then we have a discussion point in class. So please don't be afraid to give it a try, even if you're not sure. I look forward to seeing you soon in class. Bye now.